So what's going on, guys? Mr. Dalek JD here, and welcome back to another Call of Duty Black Ops 3 video. This one is a complete entire multiplayer breakdown. I've uploaded a video previously already talking about the reveal trailer where we saw campaign, multiplayer and zombies, but in this video I'm going to be talking to you guys in depth on multiplayer so that you don't have to watch individual videos. You'll find everything contained within this one video. Now, I was very lucky enough to be invited to Treyarch Studios earlier on this week to look at Black Ops 3 and surprisingly got to try my hands on with multiplayer itself. I played about 8 games in total, so I feel like with that information and with that experience I can bring you guys a very thorough impression of multiplayer and a thorough understanding. If you guys go on and enjoy this video, I'd really appreciate if you could smash that like button and sharing this around with your friends so that they can learn about Black Ops 3 multiplayer. But without any delay, let's get into this. So the first thing we're going to be talking about, and it's a pretty big thing, and that is the movement in Call of Duty Black Ops 3 multiplayer. This is a lot different to traditional Black Ops games and is fairly similar to Advanced Warfare, but there is a lot of differences. The main focus is that this is not exosuits. I repeat, this is not exosuits. With Black Ops 3, it features a new momentum-based, precision-focused, chained movement system which allows players to fluidly move through the environment with finesse using controlled thrust jumps, power slides and fast mantling capabilities in a multitude of combinations. Now let me break this down for you. So talking firstly about the traversal movement, we have unlimited sprint, so there's no need for marathon anymore in this game. Unlimited sprint is just the default. Now here's the biggest thing about the movement set, and that is the addition of the thrust jump. Now this is not an exo jump, and let me explain how exactly this works. In order to activate the thrust jump, you double tap the jump button on your controller. It's an omnidirectional, so you can go left, right, forwards, backwards, and rather with Advanced Warfare where you double tap the jump button and you go to a specific height, with this you can actually control your jump, where on screen you'll have a power meter which will allow you to go up to a certain height in the air or allow you to go forwards a certain amount of length in the air before you fall down. When you first initiate this thrust jump, you work at it fairly slowly and work your way up to speed, and you cannot thrust forever. The most times that I found was 3 to 4 times, but it will recharge when you're not using your thrust jump. So think of it in a way of Advanced Warfare. Rather than just the sporadic certain height that you get to all the time, this actually allows you to control how high you go and how far pushed forwards off the air you are. And the best way to describe this is it's more of a literal jetpack where you can actually control the slow boosts or fast boosts you want to use with the thrust jump. Now you won't be able to boost forwards like you can in Advanced Warfare. That entire boost mechanic is gone from the game and boosting is simply not a thing. Now the next thing I want to talk about with the movement is the power slide. Now that normally doesn't sound like anything too exciting. We've been able to slide in quite a few Call of Duty games in the past, but this one is exceptionally different to the rule, as it's not just a traditional slide. This one allows you to slide quite a far about of distance forwards. This is again omnidirectional, so you can literally slide to the left, to the right, forwards and backwards on yourself. So the best way to describe this is on the PC versions of Call of Duty, you can tilt your character using the buttons on the keyboard, which you can't do on console. That's the best way I can describe the sort of movement that your guy will be able to do when he's sliding left and right. And the power slide also works with a power meter, so when the meter runs out, you'll simply normally slide, so you only go a certain amount of distance rather than the power slide. Now this next movement mechanic is huge. This has been rumored for quite a few weeks now, and this is in the game. This is wall running, where you can initiate a run and literally run across walls. Now this probably sounds very scary, but it worked very naturally in the game. You initiate that by simply running up to a wall and you'll start wall running. What's crazy cool about this is that you can aim down sights and fire whilst running on the walls, and this allows you to chain your movement where you can be running across one wall, you can jump off another and thrust jump towards another wall and continue your momentum running across that as well. What's also cool is you can reverse the direction of your wall running. So if you see someone hopping onto a wall running towards you and you're running towards them, you can jump off, turn around and jump back onto the wall to get that kill. Now you're probably wondering, what the heck, can I run on every single wall in the game? And no, some of the maps are designed from the ground up specifically for the new movement system, and when you see these type of walls, you'll recognize which ones you'll be able to run on and which ones you won't. You won't be able to simply run into a building and then just find a wall and just run along it. It's not exactly how it works. And one last point about the wall running is that it's got a second stage where you'll slowly fall down the wall after a certain amount of time running on it. So you can't be running on the walls forever. You either have to chain your movement by thrust jumping towards another to keep your momentum going, or just jump off the wall before your character falls too far down onto the wall. And the last new movement mechanic we have is swimming. Now this doesn't sound like a very big deal. We had a very small fraction of swimming in Call of Duty Advanced Warfare on one particular multiplayer map, but this is much bigger than that. Now, to note, it's not on every single map. If the map makes sense for water to be on the map, then it will be. But this is not your traditional swimming in Call of Duty. You can swim in any direction. You have full weapon and equipment control. So you can go down into water and have your gun out ready to aim down sight, which is absolutely crazy. And we saw some spots on maps where there'll be capture the flag objectives where they'll be underwater. So partly you will have to go underwater to retrieve a flag, which is insane. And just like real life, you can't be down in the water forever. You'll be up there for a limited time, otherwise you'll start to drown. So now we've taken a look at the combat movement within the game. Let me know what you're thinking down below in the comment section. Now this next section is pretty huge, and I'm going to try and explain this to the best of my ability. So within multiplayer, introduces a new system called the Specialist system, which lets players choose from one of 9 elite Black Ops soldiers, each with their own look, personality, voice, and weapons and abilities. Now this is not just a simple little character model choice, this is actually something huge, and this changes the way that Call of Duty multiplayer plays. Now on screen you're going to see a character which is called Ruin, who's one of the specialists, and this is one of the characters you can pick to play in multiplayer. Now like I mentioned, it's not just a model, this is an actual character that has a storyline and a backstory. So Ruin is raised in a military family in a tough neighborhood. He's fearless and headstrong, an infantry soldier through and through, and he uses his unique abilities to rush into battle and surprise the enemy with sheer force. Now Ruin has the choice of either a weapon which is the gravity spikes, which you can see him holding, which creates a devastating area of effect shockwave in the surrounding area, or he has an ability which is called Overdrive, which initiates a burst of speed that accelerates all movement for a short period of time. Now when you're in the lobby for multiplayer, you get to pick a character. This will affect the different abilities that you can use when you're actually in the multiplayer game. You can either choose to bring in one of these weapons, which Ruin's is the gravity spikes, or you can pick Ruin's ability, which is Overdrive, which initiates a burst of speed that accelerates all movement for a short period of time. This sort of adds an RPG element almost to the Call of Duty multiplayer experience, where you're actually taking on the role of a character with a backstory. It's not just a simple character pick where it's just a model. It has a backstory, it will have voices in-game speaking what's going on, and they all have their own different abilities. So let me bring you in with a second one here, which is a female character called Seraph, who's a militant enforcer of the 54I crime syndicate's rule of law. She is known for her focused and unflinching combat discipline, striking fear within the ranks of the cartel. With the comparison with Ruin, where his weapon is the gravity spikes, with Seraph you can bring in what Treyarch call the Annihilator, which is a massive high caliber revolver with penetration rounds. So imagine a pistol or a revolver. In multiplayer, that is a one-shot kill. Or you can pick the ability of Combat Focus, which triggers a bonus multiplier to score earned towards score streaks for a period of time, which is essentially the hardline perk. Now, I really don't want to confuse you guys, so I'm going to take a step back and explain this a little bit better. So this is essentially an ability which you can earn within the game. You can either pick a weapon or an ability to use. So you earn a specialist weapon every 2 minutes when playing multiplayer averagely, averagely, and you earn an ability for playing averagely for 1 minute. So like I mentioned, you can either pick to bring in a weapon or an ability into the game, and it will be on your heads-up display next to your ammo as like a sort of power meter, which works its way up slowly to when you finally earn this from getting score and getting kills in game. Think of this almost as like a care package which drops in with a super ability for you to use for a specific amount of time. If you die whilst using your weapon or your ability that you've earned, you have to wait again to earn it. Like I mentioned, the weapons and the abilities are mutually exclusive, and it's a sort of earn and hold mechanic where once you've powered it up, you can activate it there and then. It doesn't reset on death, but once you have used it, you have to wait for it to charge up. And like I mentioned, this little meter to build this ability up is accelerated by score, and it has a limited time when in use. So with the gravity spikes, you can only use that once and that's it. With the overdrive, you can use that for around about 10 seconds and then that's it. With Seraph and her Annihilator pistol, you only have about 6 to 7 shots. With her combat focus ability, which is essentially hardline, you can only use that for around about 10 seconds. With these specialist characters, you pick them pre-match, so it's not part of create a class. Now we have 2 more specialist characters to speak about. There's 5 more, but Activision are going to announce those leading up to the release of Call of Duty Black Ops 3, so those are kind of a mystery at the moment. Then this next one is called Outrider, which is a person who's developed their keen observation skills growing up in the streets of the favela, traversing the rooftops to watch the action of the city below, and this earned her a place in the ranks of the Brazilian Special Forces. She outsmarts enemies by finding them before they have a chance to know what hit them. What's awesome is that Outrider's weapon is a Sparrow, which is a compound crossbow with explosive bolts and variable range. Now this thing is an absolute monster. When you hit an enemy, they die on impact. What happens is, because you've shot them with an explosive bolt, their body flies backwards, and if there's anyone near them when that body flies backwards, that will also kill them as well. And Outrider's ability is a vision pulse, which pings the surrounding area and tags the location of all enemies within range for a short period of time. This last one is pretty crazy, and this isn't a fully robotic guy called the Reaper, whose real name is the Experimental War Robot. Now, this thing started out as an expensive military R&D project to supplement special operations soldiers in the field, but this robot was a cutting-edge prototype combat robot, the most advanced in the world at the time. Budget overruns and embarrassing political incidents left the project all but a resource for scrap metal, except for the one prototype that remained, and that is Reaper. So his weapon is absolutely insane. It's a scythe where his robotic arm transforms into a high power minigun which has around about 100 bullets. It's a fully automatic minigun turret on his left arm, which is insane, and his ability is probably the most coolest out of all the abilities, which is called Glitch, where you can flash back to a previous position around about 2 to 3 seconds in time by using the system mod to hack into the DNI of the other soldiers on the battlefield, which is the direct neuron interface, which is just insane. Just imagine in multiplayer, someone's managed to kill you. What you can do is activate this glitch ability. You'll go backwards 3 seconds in time, and you'll be potentially behind the player that shot you originally, and then you can take them out. It's just absolutely insane, and just makes Black Ops 3's multiplayer really, really diverse. Rather than just the simple Call of Duty mechanic that we now have these abilities introduced. Now, I got a chance to play on 3 multiplayer maps in general. One was called Combine, one was called Hunted, and one was called Stronghold. And in my opinion, all these maps felt brilliant. They were small to medium-sized maps and looked and felt just like Black Ops 2 maps. Treyarch are famous for their 3-lane system, and all of these multiplayer maps had the 3-lane system in mind. Some specific areas made just for the wall running, and also for you to use your thrust jumps to run along walls and such to get to areas quickly. But I thoroughly enjoyed my time playing multiplayer. I did play a pre-alpha, so it is an very early version of Black Ops 3 multiplayer, so a lot of the things I've seen and used probably will be very, very different to when we get to try this out in the multiplayer beta, but it was very, very exciting, and I'm so happy that I managed to get the chance to play it so I can bring you guys this in-depth look at multiplayer. Now, the last thing I want to talk to you guys about is the Gunsmith, which is the all-new weapon customization system, which gives players more powerful tools than ever to build and personalize the perfect gun. Now, with this, you can create a variant of any gun. You can name it whatever you want. And what is so cool is in normal Call of Duty games, you just simply see like a 2D version of the gun. But in the Gunsmith, you see an actual proper 3D model in real time. So as you add attachments and opticals onto your gun, you can actually see that updated to see what the gun looks like. So on the build that we played, we could put on 1 optical attachment and 5 attachments were open for us to use. I'm not too sure if that's going to be in the final game or not, so do not take my word for that, as that is quite a lot of attachment box for you to use. What is cool though is that with every attachment there's at least 1 alternative model, so you can get attachments which look slightly cooler than, say, the other counterpart. The attachment will do exactly the same thing, it will just look slightly different. Now, what is absolutely awesome is that in Black Ops 1 and 2, we had the emblem editor, and Treyarch are taking this one step further, where you have the paint option in paint job on your gun, where you can create your own skin on your gun. This will let you do on 3 paintable sides: the left side of your gun, the middle, so when you're aiming down the barrel, and then on the right side. So that is 64 layers per side. So that's around about 192 individual layers in total for your gun, which is absolutely insane. Now, for PC players, they have precision editing controls, so I can imagine for PC, some of the stuff that people are going to create is going to be ridiculously detailed, but of course you'll be able to do that all on the console as well. They say that camos are still very important, and they say that the paint jobs will complement the camouflages that you'll be able to earn in Black Ops 3 multiplayer. But finally, they also announced there'll be a social feature in the game where you should be able to share your camos. They didn't say too much about this. They just said, trust us on this. We've done this in the past. We know what we're doing. We implemented live streaming into a console game. We will implement social features for this, so we can expect maybe perhaps to look at the week's highest downloaded skins for guns and stuff like that. But that is all I have today for this really long Call of Duty Black Ops 3 multiplayer video. Do let me know if there's any points that you think were slightly controversial and that you're worried about. Put them down below in the comment section. I'd love to hear your feedback on this, as well as your feedback in general for the insane amount of Black Ops 3 information that we got today. I have videos as well on my channel regarding a bunch of other stuff that was released today information wise, as well as a reveal trailer, so make sure to check that out down below in the description. If you're new around here, make sure to subscribe for all the latest Call of Duty Black Ops 3 goodness, and I'll catch you guys for another video very, very soon.